Hi! Today I want to talk about global warming, and I think for this channel I'm going to maybe take a little bit more of an intellectual approach at sometimes. I'm going to have a lot of fun on other times, but right now, today, we're going to talk about a generally or relatively serious subject that you might have heard a lot about, or you might have strong feelings about, and I like intellectually charged conversations, so that's why I'm going to be talking about this with you today. My opinions aren't always just the right or the law at all by any means, and we all can just have an open discussion here. So no hate, no shade, all love. Always got the love going on over here. So as far as global warming goes, I think that one of the overriding one thing I'd like to preface is saying I completely agree that the Earth has gotten warmer, that our temperatures have risen in the past decade, and we are, and the polar ice caps are melting. These are real tangible, measurable facts, right? The Earth is getting warmer. Now, although the cause can be disputed by some, whether it's human contribution, if it's natural variations, or solar variations, while the cause might be disputed by some, I think it's kind of irrelevant in the scope in my context, because I find that the Earth is, and always will be, has for 3.5 billion years been able to maintain and care for itself, right? So as significant as we on Earth here, humans that is, find ourselves to be, I find it really egocentric to give ourselves this divine kind of responsibility to save the planet. And the task is laughable in some regards, right? Because what we are trying to do is really not about saving the planet. It's about self-preservation and keeping the planet habitable for as long as possible, which I find, well, completely natural in our own right, but a little bit absurd when it comes to the whole scope of the universe. You know, we're talking about the universe here, so it reminds me of a Bob Marley song, you know. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of it stops the time. So, I mean, it goes on. I could sing forever about that song. But none of it's gonna stop the time. So, really though, it's like it's really profound. So the Earth might get hot, it might get cold, it might get hit by an asteroid, we might go into a supernova, and that's all within the normal scope of things. Find it really self-serving to try to maintain this little dome, like, just to try to maintain the level of control we seek to have over our environment is it's an impossible task. So I think that's where some frustrations might arise, and it's in the attempt to control the Earth and what is natural and what is not natural. And another interesting thing that I enjoy sharing with people from time to time are my thoughts about what is natural and what is not natural. I googled it. I'm not going to do it now. You're welcome to do it yourself. But I'll tell you, natural things, okay? It's in the very definition of these words that we find ourselves diverging from what I consider to be a truth. Because natural things are defined by things occurring in nature and not by man. So in order to be natural, it must be without man. Unnatural things If you Google the word unnatural, find the definition of it. Unnatural things are created by man. The very definition of these words is, I think, provides insight into human's ego, the man's ego, or the woman's ego, for that matter, because we actually consider ourselves unnatural. We've even made a word just special for things that we create. We call it unnatural if we do it. We don't call it unnatural if the honeybee does it. We don't call it unnatural if a bird does it. If a dog does it, a squirrel does it. Totally natural. But if we do it, it's unnatural. If we make any kind of contribution to the earth that affects the weather, that affects, if we pour concrete, if we make plastics, then we are behaving unnatural, and there's such a negative connotation associated with that. But I would argue that we are completely natural, and we should revise our understanding of that. A revision of our understanding of what natural is and what unnatural is would perhaps reduce that the sense of global responsibility for the universe, actually, beyond the universe. We've adopted like this really heavy philosophy that what we do is shameful, what we do by our own nature is negatively impacting the earth. And it doesn't negatively impact the earth. It might negatively impact our ability to live on the earth forever, but I think that's natural. I don't think we should be here forever. I think it's weird. If in your perfect, and not you, but if in this hypothetical perfect world where we lived in perfect sustainability indefinitely, I think that would be weird. I think that would be more fitting for the word unnatural than the idea that somewhere down the line we go extinct, or the species evolves or moves or doesn't stay here forever. It's weird. It's weird to think that our species really wants to propagate here forever and ever. So, a little sad, because that goal is unattainable, whether it be with global warming or nuclear wars or just cosmic interference. I really think that's an uphill battle, right? It's scary, I understand it's scary to think about forever. It's scary to think about these bigger, broader concepts, and on a day-to-day basis we can't. It's a task that you can do, for a limited amount of time before it becomes overwhelming and kind of exhausting mentally. But it's important, like with a lot of things, on a micro level at your job, you might have heard you need to look at the big picture while, addressing the smaller, while servicing the needs of the smaller picture as well. And on a macro scale, we need to be able to look at that big picture, the big picture that we're not here forever, that life is a weird, intricate kind of maze of all kinds of dimensions of complexity. One of which is, that we're not going to be here forever. You are not going to be here together. Our lineage won't be here forever. Well, there's a good possibility we won't, at least. So, kind of makes you, if you're not being a warrior for global warming, what would you be doing instead? Would you be hugging people deeper, living life stronger, perhaps? I think those are some true virtues that I value, at least. in my own life is trying to stay focused on the bigger spiritual aspect of living than the tedious day-to-day concepts. And global warming isn't something I toy with mentally often, but when I do, these are the thoughts I kind of have about it. And I'm really glad I got to share them with you today. So, thanks for joining me. I do hope that we can have a little bit of an intellectual back and forth. I just enjoy sharing my ideas, and I hope you enjoy listening to them. Anyways, I don't know how to close these things out yet, but thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video soon. Bye.